After being snapped at a Las Vegas nightclub with Jay-Z and P. Diddy, Cathy White went back to her LA lifestyle and for a time moved on with life as normal. The rest of 2009, Cathy White would likely stay living the good life in Los Angeles, and at the end of the year, she would actually join Twitter, helping us get a better understanding of her life going into 2010. It seems that she was mostly staying in Los Angeles and doing the usual things like working, going out partying with her friends in mansions and at pool parties, attending events like basketball games and concerts, with at least one of these perhaps even being a Jay-Z concert. She would also travel with her friends, seemingly going to places like Paris, France. But there were also changes happening in Cathy's life, as in the summer of 2010, posts would surface on social media indicating that Cathy was actually moving away from LA and back to the East Coast. But Cathy certainly wasn't heading back to Norfolk, but instead to the biggest metropolis in America and Jay-Z's home city, New York. And it also seemed that she had received some big deal work-related offer, with tweets discussing some kind of celebratory dinner and how she was about to blow up, with one post saying that she was just about to sign some kind of big deal. But unfortunately, the good news wouldn't last for long, because by the end of August, the rumor about Cathy and Jay-Z's affair would finally hit the internet. It was first posted by an LA gossip blog, Diary of a Hollywood Street King, a blog ran by a man called Jackie Jasper, real name Sean Merrick, who is a Canadian-American former rapper whose career in music began in the early 90s, when he would make some impact nationally in Canada with his single Pimp of the Microphone, rapping under the name HDV. And it seems that Merrick was actually pimping much more than just microphones, because he would allegedly also do a stint in a Toronto jail for the real deal. He would also be part of a Toronto-based dance music group called Dance Appeal, who would go on to win the iHeartRadio Much Music Video Award for Best Dance Music Video of the Year in 1991, with their music video for the song Can't Repress the Cause. Merrick would then later move to America, where he would change his rap name to H-Bomb and also get into producing, collaborating with many notable artists like Ice-T and Coolio, as well as with Kool Keith, who he would create a rap group with called Seventh Veil, with their last project in 2008 including such legends as Rick James, Corrupt, Ike Turner, and Snoop Dogg. Now it's safe to say that Merrick had some real connections in the world of entertainment, but since his career in music wasn't seemingly moving much anymore, he would likely decide to capitalize on his contacts in another way, co-starting the Diary of a Hollywood Street King blog, often shortened to just HSK, writing for the blog under the pseudonym Jackie Jasper from 2009. With all this happening only months before that night in Vegas, when Cathy and her friends had been captured on camera at Jay-Z and P. Diddy's party. The blog would focus heavily on sensationalism, painting a highly scandalous image of the things going on behind the scenes in Hollywood. And interestingly, it seems that one of the first articles on the blog was an exposé on a publicist in Hollywood just like Cathy, titled Gossip on a Gossip Girl. Now, the blog had even gone after Cathy's friend Claudia several times before the story on Cathy and Jay-Z went public. HSK would call out Claudia Jordan as a gold digger, an opportunist, and a homewrecker for allegedly pursuing men that were already in relationships. The HSK blog was particularly venomous and seemed to indicate some sort of bitterness towards Hollywood socialites, or arguably just women in general. Headlines calling Claudia Jordan washed up and wanted by no man definitely gave off some sly incel vibes, but anyway. Whilst extremely sensational, it must also be noted that the blog has at least once been at the very forefront of breaking a huge celebrity story. For example, in 2014, it reportedly became the first source to publicize Charlie Sheen's HIV diagnosis well over a year before the actor would finally come out and admit it himself. Also, in Cathy's case, HSK would claim that their story was an exclusive that they had received from a source directly close to Cathy, claiming that Cathy's relationship with Jay-Z went back all the way to before him and Beyonce were even married, and the source would also claim that they had first learned about the affair between Cathy and Jay from her friend Jason Lee, who went on to end up being perhaps best known for being the founder of Hollywood Unlocked, another celebrity gossip site essentially doing the same thing as HSK but in the modern era, as well as appearing on the TV show Love and Hip Hop Hollywood. And Jason Lee's exemplary contributions to gossip journalism include getting the first-hand scoop on Queen Elizabeth's death an impressive 7 months before it actually happened. There's being first, and then there's that. Anyway, back to Cathy White. Jasper's Hollywood Street King blog would also claim that he got the rumor from Corey's friend Jason Lee, and that several close associates of Jay-Z had confirmed the story was true. But the muckraking wouldn't end there, as the blog would also claim that Claudia Jordan was often bitching about her friend Cathy White behind her back, even claiming that Claudia was jealous of Cathy for getting into a relationship with Jay-Z, reprinting apparent swipes from Claudia where she claimed that Cathy has $100,000 in bags, $200,000 in shoes, but lives in a messy one-bed apartment, as well as claiming she can't believe Claudia is getting richer men than her, and even suggesting that her cat smells bad. Anyway, while the online celebrity gossip culture in 2010 was nothing like it is now with modern social media, even back then in the blog era, that story would make a huge impact, with sites like the popular gossip discussion forum Lipstick Alley soon starting a thread on the rumor which would quickly gain dozens of replies, which based on these replies was clearly exceptional at the time, with posts claiming that the forum hadn't been this active since Obama won the election. Cathy would seemingly find out about the blog post rather quickly, would allegedly go on to message Jasper personally, which he would gleefully post on his blog as an update, sharing the message that demanded he take down the post and claiming she plans to sue him for copyright infringement. Cathy would also immediately go on to delete her Twitter and Facebook accounts, but in the eyes of many, this would only make her look more guilty, with forum posters claiming that it must be true if the mistress deleted her Twitter. It would also do little to stop the online sleuths from doing their own investigations, and soon they would find the pictures of Cathy and Claudia at Jay-Z and Diddy's party, adding even more fuel to the fire, with Jackie Jasper of Hollywood Street King himself even commenting on the thread, responding to criticism by the online sleuths, who clowned him, saying that they found more evidence than he had, despite his claims of being an industry insider. And soon Jasper would post the pictures from the forum on his own blog, as well as repeating the question of why would Cathy delete her socials if she was innocent. However, there was one glaring hole in Jasper's story that seemingly even online sleuths on Lipstick Alley would fail to realize. Because in the original blog post, Jasper would claim that according to his source, the meeting of Jay and Cathy happened in September 2009 during a night of a boxing match between Floyd Mayweather and Juan Marquez. This fight took place on September the 19th at the MGM Grand Arena in Las Vegas, that very same arena where Manny Pacquiao and Ricky Hatton had fought some months earlier on May the 2nd. Cathy's friend Claudia would indeed be in Vegas that night, as she would be set to host a fight night after party at a freshly opened nightclub near the Las Vegas Strip. The next day, Claudia would even post a picture of herself and her friends in Vegas, but Cathy would be nowhere to be seen. But what makes Jasper's version of the events truly impossible is the fact that Jay-Z himself was nowhere near Las Vegas at this time, as he would be doing 2 consecutive shows at the Wembley Stadium in London, in England, on both the 18th and 19th of September, together with Coldplay and other artists. Additionally, on Sunday, September the 20th, he would do an interview with a UK radio station, showing that the entire weekend he would in fact stay firmly on the ground in the United Kingdom. And if that's not enough proof, Jay-Z had in fact likely stayed in the UK for the entire month of September, as he would tour all over the country with Coldplay. At the very least, this mistake in Jasper's reporting appears to show that his sources may not have been as reliable as he was making them seem, and confusing which boxing fight they met at, as well as getting the timeline wrong, arguably destroys his credibility and means that we can't really trust any of his outrageous claims. But nevertheless, Jasper would continue on reporting about Cathy and Jay's alleged affair, doubling down on his factually incorrect information, incorrectly maintaining that their meeting had indeed happened around the September 19th boxing match between Mayweather and Marquez, with his source now doubling down on the lies, claiming that Jay-Z had been buying expensive designer items for Cathy to wear during that night, when Jay-Z was in fact in the United Kingdom the entire month. He would also claim that Jay-Z had taken Claudia out gambling at the famous Bellagio casino, and seemingly fabricating a story about Claudia's friends circling them to make sure nobody saw. A great way to cover the fact that no pictures exist of this meeting, because it never actually happened, because Jay-Z was in England. However, besides Jasper's Hollywood Street King and a few other gossip blogs, none of the more reputable tabloid media outlets like TMZ would seemingly bite when it came to posting this rumor. And so, life would seemingly, eventually, go back to normal for Cathy White, who would then, in the beginning of 2011, return to Twitter under a new username, I Am White Label PR. With this move possibly reflecting the fact that she had now started her own PR firm, however this time she would keep her account private, likely only accepting her closest friend circle to see her posts. But what we do know is that she was now living in New York, having completed the relocation she had planned months ago, with one of the people tweeting at her about New York being the comedian DeRay Davis from the Barbershop movies, who would interestingly call her his ex. It seemed that Cathy was enjoying her new life in the Big Apple, and her life was on the right path. However, Jackie Jasper at Hollywood Street King was not planning on leaving her alone, and he would make yet another blog post about her, this time based on his alleged source in New York, who would claim that Cathy had gotten involved with some shady people and businesses. Now, this salty post had a real tinge of woman hatred to it, as he branded her Jay-Z's mistress, lamenting her rebranding to a fitness expert, and claiming her only skill is shaking her butt, and claiming she's using health products linked to a former mobster and adult entertainment mogul. Jasper would also claim that Cathy's move to NYC was due to her affair with Jay-Z getting outed, which would once again appear to be simply factually incorrect, as Cathy had clearly planned her move to New York City months before the alleged affair with Jay-Z had been publicized by Jasper at the end of August 2010. But strangely, while the timeline was certainly a mess, and Hollywood Street King was twisting facts and falsehoods to paint the desired narrative, clearly there had been a connection between Jay-Z and Cathy, and they had indeed partied together alongside P. Diddy and Claudia Jordan in Las Vegas. Now that was out there for the whole world to see, but combining that with the false narratives being painted by these blogs, Cathy White's reputation was seemingly in tatters. She'd been labelled as Jay-Z's mistress, and the only evidence were paparazzi photos from one party and a bunch of anonymous sources that were demonstrably lying. Unfortunately, the truth would only matter so much, as only about a month after this blog, Cathy would meet her untimely end under incredibly suspicious circumstances.